Ethan Bennett had always been invisible in the eyes of the world. Born into a working-class family, he was never part of the elite society. Schoolmates mocked him for his ragged clothes and his inability to keep up with the latest trends. His parents worked tirelessly, but their financial struggles weighed heavily on Ethan. He tried to keep his head down, avoid attention, and work hard to secure a better future, but life kept throwing obstacles in his way. To most, he was simply a nobody. In his early 20s, Ethan believed his life was destined for mediocrity. The one thing that kept him going was his childhood friend Ryan, who always promised that they'd make it big together. Ryan and Ethan shared dreams of success, whether through hard work, intelligence, or sheer luck. But when Ethan's trust was betrayed by Ryan, his world turned upside down. After graduating college, Ethan struggled to find a stable job. He had skills, but nothing impressive enough to break out of the cycle of low-paying jobs. Ryan, on the other hand, had secured an internship at a prestigious tech company and quickly climbed the ranks. Ethan thought his friend would help him out, but Ryan had other plans. One evening, Ethan's world shattered when he found out that Ryan had stolen his ideas and passed them off as his own, securing a massive promotion while Ethan was left behind. The betrayal hurt deeply, but it lit a fire inside Ethan. If Ryan could get ahead through manipulation and deceit, then maybe Ethan could play a game of his own. Feeling bitter and disillusioned, Ethan retreated to his apartment, wallowing in his failure. That's when he stumbled upon a programming forum online. While others were discussing complex algorithms, cybersecurity hacks, and corporate espionage, Ethan was struck by the idea of using his skills to transform his own He had always been good with computers, maybe even a little too good for someone with no formal training. A spark ignited. Ethan spent the next few months obsessively learning everything he could about hacking, cybersecurity, and data manipulation. Late nights turned into early mornings as he devoured tutorials, cracked codes, and designed his own programs. What started as a simple escape from his dismal reality slowly transformed into an undeniable talent. Ethan was no longer just a regular guy with a mediocre life. He was a tech genius, a digital mastermind. Ethan's transformation wasn't overnight, but it was swift. Within months, he began targeting small tech companies, ruthlessly extracting information, identifying weaknesses, and selling them to the highest bidder. His knowledge of security flaws quickly made him a sought-after consultant in the digital underworld. The money came fast. No one knew his true identity, just a mysterious figure in the shadows who made businesses millions by exposing their vulnerability. But Ethan wasn't satisfied with just making money. He wanted more. He wanted power, influence, and the chance to make Ryan and everyone who had ever looked down on him. One day, while researching a high-profile company, Lark Tech, Ethan discovered a massive vulnerability in their financial system. It was a small window, but enough to exploit. However, instead of selling the information to the highest bidder, Ethan did something unexpected. He used it to gain control. He hacked into Lark Tech's back office, manipulated their financial records, and took over their company stock. Within a week, he had become the majority shareholder. He used his newfound wealth to gain a seat on the board, and soon, Ethan was sitting at the head of one of the largest tech companies in the world. In the process, he systematically ousted the old CEO who had been involved in a series of shady dealings and replaced him with a more suitable figure, himself. As the new CEO of Lark Tech, Ethan faced a world full of corporate sharks, ruthless business tycoons, scheming executives, and political power players, all vying for their piece of the empire. But Ethan had a mind for strategy and a deep understanding of the game. He played corporate chess with brutal efficiency, outsmarting competitors, rival companies, and even his own employees. But the deeper Ethan sank into the world of corporate warfare, the more enemies he made. Many tried to take him down through manipulation, blackmail, and even physical threats, but Ethan was always 2 steps ahead. His past experiences of being underestimated fueled his drive for success, and he was determined to make LarkTech the biggest tech conglomerate in the world. It was during a corporate gala where Ethan was celebrating LarkTech's most successful quarter yet that he met her, Isabella Devereaux. The Devereaux family was one of the wealthiest and most powerful in the world, owning everything from high-end luxury brands to sprawling international real estate. Isabella, their only daughter, had inherited not only wealth but also a ruthless mind for business. At just 28, she had already become a major player in her family's empire. But there was something different about Isabella. Beneath her polished exterior, she was not just another spoiled heiress. She was intelligent, independent, and driven by ambition. She saw through Ethan's facade and understood the man behind the ruthless CEO. And he, for the first time, felt vulnerable. Their chemistry was undeniable, and despite their vastly different worlds, they found themselves drawn to one another. They formed an alliance, combining their expertise in business, tech, and influence. Together, they began making power plays, taking on global competitors and amassing wealth at an unprecedented rate. Ethan's past feelings of inferiority were slowly replaced by something new, confidence, and a powerful desire to build something greater than himself. As their business empire grew, so did their relationship. What started as a strategic partnership quickly blossomed into something much more. They leaned on each other, not just for professional success, but for personal healing. Isabella opened up to Ethan about her own struggles growing up in the shadow of her family's expectations and dealing with betrayal from those she loved. Ethan, in turn, shared his painful past, including his fall from grace and his transformation into the tech genius and billionaire he had become. Their love, born out of shared ambition and mutual respect, was fated. However, as they grew closer, their enemies grew more desperate. A group of corporate rivals, including Ryan, who had been watching Ethan's rise from afar, began plotting their downfall. As the stakes reached their peak, Ethan and Isabella's relationship was tested in ways they hadn't imagined. Ryan, Ethan's former friend, returned to sabotage everything he had built. Ryan had somehow managed to manipulate key members of LarkTech and was in the process of orchestrating a hostile takeover. But Ethan was ready. With his experience, his intellect, and the trust he had built with Isabella, he turned the table. Ryan's plan crumbled as Ethan exposed the betrayal, not just within LarkTech but also within the business world. In a final showdown, Ethan not only reclaimed control of his company but also publicly humiliated Ryan, finally putting an end to his past tormentor's scheme. Ethan Bennett was no longer the powerless man who had been betrayed and overlooked. He was a tech genius, a billionaire, and a king in his own right. LarkTech had become a global leader, and he and Isabella had built an empire that spanned industry. But more than that, Ethan had found something he never thought possible: true love. Together with Isabella, he had not only conquered the business world, but also learned to open his heart. Their journey was just beginning. Ethan's transformation from nobody to king was complete, but in the game of life, there would always be more challenge. And for the first time, Ethan was ready not just for the wealth and power, but for the love and family he had once believed was out of reach.